Felicia, here at the Melbourne airport, I can tell you they have begun following, and many of them are here. Thousands of them. I stood out in line with them on this sweltering afternoon. They are very excited, very happy with the debate last night. And here's proof that Florida is a key. Donald Trump spending the day in the battleground state, this swing state of Florida. Quite an event. He takes the stage sometime tonight. The rally itself starts in less than an hour now. Now, earlier this afternoon, candidate Trump was near the Little Havana neighborhood talking about last night's debate and about trying to connect with Cuban voters in the Little Havana and Miami area, traditionally Republican voters. He also talked about the debate last night, saying he called the event an interesting event. That's a quote, and did tell reporters he felt he won the debate handily, and said that every poll he's seen says that he won that debate last night. Tomorrow, this mall will be filled with perhaps 1 million or more people to watch the swearing in of the 45th president, Donald Trump. Again, when Mr. Trump takes the oath of office, it will mark a sea change in U.S. politics and the beginning of changes in U.S. policy. That's one side of this. Another side of this is that those who support Trump and those who oppose him will all be here together to watch this historic day in America. And no matter what side you're on, they will be witnessing a day never to be forgotten in American history. Young voices raised in beautiful harmony at the foot of the Lincoln Memorial to celebrate a new president and a new era for America. Fittingly, the singers come from Donald Trump's second home, Palm Beach County. The King's Academy High School Chorus received the rare honor.
Well, I think when we got invited, we didn't really believe the invitation. It was such a big honor to be picked. But as it wore on, kids were very excited around our school and just could not wait to get up here.
There is joy in the faces here. Against heavy odds, controversy, and the popular vote totals, Donald Trump takes over America with his own unique agenda for change. And many here can't wait, like Ray Reynolds of Virginia, who told me he's followed the president-elect on the campaign trail, snapping photos.
We finally got a true American in the White House. We got somebody who cares about America.
So we didn't have a true American in the White House before?
Well, look at the policies. You tell me.
But the Trump victory brings no joy to Dolores and Miguel Robles, who came from Albuquerque but will stay away from D.C. Friday, preparing for Saturday's Women's March on Washington.
I want the new administration to know that we as women, women of color, and people of color in general, are not going back to the 40s and 50s when we had no access to opportunities.
I don't believe he's our legitimate president.
The Thursday crowds will be dwarfed by turnout on the National Mall and those lining Pennsylvania Avenue Friday afternoon, as those watching with happiness will be joined by those who oppose Trump. But all will witness a moment never to be forgotten. And that moment, of course, the 58th inauguration of a president in the history of our great nation. Again, take a look at the National Mall tonight and imagine the sea of people you will see tomorrow, many of whom may have to battle the rain. Strong chance for rain throughout the morning into the afternoon. The parade follows the oath of office down Pennsylvania Avenue, and then Donald Trump says he will get right to work in the Oval Office. Tonight there's a cause for celebration among Trump supporters, and again, this mall will see two big crowds, tomorrow and Saturday for the Women's March on Washington. There could be many people attending that as well. It remains to be seen what those numbers will be, but it is quite a week and quite a night to be here. I'm TODD MCDERMOTT live in Washington, D.C. After the most unlikely campaign, the most unlikely of election, the most unlikely of candidates, a billionaire reality TV star, a man with no political or military experience, is now the leader of the free world. Donald Trump was sworn into office today under gray skies and under the protest of many Americans, but hundreds of thousands of others have come here to the nation's capital to celebrate him and celebrate this day.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
His hand on the Lincoln Bible, Donald Trump became President of the United States to the joy of those who braved threats of rain to witness a moment he promised is really not for him, but for them.
I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never,
ever let you down.
While pledging to represent all Americans, the 45th president promised a clean break from the past and his predecessors.
We assembled here today are issuing a new decree to be heard in every city, in every foreign capital, and in every hall of power. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
For Republicans, this speech, the moment, were magic.
It was peaceful, encouraging, inspiring, and I just can't wait to get back Monday morning and get back to work and make America great again.
I can hate Trump. I can think he's a racist, Ku Klux Klan server, but he's still going to be my president. I cannot say he's not my president.
For other Americans who came to witness history, resignation and regret.
I feel like it's a sad day for America. I don't think Mr. Trump is going to be somebody who can really represent all of America and bring us together.
Blocks from the inaugural parade, up to 1,000 protesters breaking windows, causing havoc, spouting anger, met by riot-ready police with flashbang grenades. But neither the new president nor those cheering him on his journey up Pennsylvania Avenue could hear the din of those demonstrations. Now, to be clear, that protest was many blocks away and outside the protected secure zone here around Pennsylvania Avenue, the Capitol, the White House, as well as the National Mall. When I say 1,000 protesters, that would include the numbers who actually helped shut down I-395, one of the expressways close here to D.C., right outside. That was part of the protest. Those protesters were quickly dispersed. We do expect more of that tonight. On the other hand, back to the business at hand here, here at the Capitol and on Pennsylvania Avenue, President Barack Obama, the last time I'll say that, President Barack Obama and wife Michelle left, as he's now the former president. They're on their way to Palm Springs, California. They left before leaving Joint Base Andrews. President Obama had words to all.
This has never been about us. It has always been about you. And all the amazing things that happened over these last 10 years are really just a testament to you.
The Obamas departed Washington, D.C. at 2 o'clock aboard the presidential plane. Notice I did not call it Air Force One. It can only have that designation, that call sign, when the president is on board. Joe Biden and his wife left Washington the same way they came in, on an Amtrak train from Union Station. The Bidens headed home to Delaware, where the former vice president served as a U.S. Senator for more than 30 years. And Joe Biden, for all those years as a senator, traveled back to Delaware every weekend and continued to do so throughout the vice presidency when he could as well. But now the Obama-Biden era is over. The Trump-Pence era has begun. Tuesday night, President Donald Trump makes his first address before a joint session of Congress. Tonight, a little more history made at the White House, a first for any administration, as the Trump team invited about a dozen local TV journalists from around the country to a private dinner and conversation with the President of the United States in the state dining room. That conversation covered a wide range of topics. Their stated goal to reach out to local TV news. They believe Trump supporters, Trump voters, are watching local TV and not the networks to get their news. And as they called this, an attempt to break down barriers. Their words tonight. The conversation covered more than a dozen topics. Much of it was off the record. I can report the president's speech to Congress when his words not be a dark one. He said, quote, "We have tremendous problems, the deficit, the Middle East, North Korea, but if it's managed right, we have tremendous potential." The president also called North Korea, which has been testing missiles in a provocation, apparently, of the new administration. He called North Korea a world menace that has to be dealt with quickly. He also called Obamacare too broken to fix. He said we will come up with something very much better, more popular, less expensive, something that everyone will like. He also indicated he still believes that the Affordable Care Act as the system is imploding. Again, his words. And the president also indicated he will not touch Social Security as he makes the proposed budget cuts that will be in the speech Tuesday night. He pointed out to all of us around the table what he is doing now through his legislative agenda and through the executive orders is basically keeping his campaign promises, something he said he wanted to do. Now, the conversation was very wide-ranging. Russia was talked about, the investigation into Russian involvement in the U.S. election, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, military contracts, making deals, whether he likes the job. All kinds of topics were discussed. Also in attendance tonight was Reince Priebus, the Chief of Staff, White House press spokesperson Sean Spicer, also Special Counsel Kellyanne Conway. Mike Pence, the Vice President, also made an appearance tonight and did a meet and greet with us before the President's arrival with the First Lady. First Lady Melania Trump made her way around the table, spoke with everyone before retiring to the private residence. The President also told me personally that the First Lady will be accompanying him to Mar-a-Lago, to Palm Beach this coming weekend. But again, some history made tonight as the President did something no president has done before in meeting with local press for a very private, intimate dinner to talk about details not only of his agenda, but the world at large. It's something they do with the networks, and they will have a lunch tomorrow, traditionally with the networks. But this was a first for local TV. And there was a clear indication as well from the president that that speech for Tuesday night is still a work in progress. I'll be here to cover that speech for you from the Capitol. For now, I'm Todd McDermott in Washington, D.C. at the White House. Sonica, last night it was dinner with the president. About a dozen TV journalists, including myself, sat with the president in the state dining room to talk about this upcoming speech. Tonight, it is that speech, the president's first big chance to ignite momentum behind his agenda by speaking to that joint session of Congress and all the American people who will tune in tonight. His first speech as Commander-in-Chief to Congress, by the way. His aides are promising an optimistic speech, an optimistic outlook tonight, a speech designed to rally Americans toward a hopeful future, perhaps in the mold of a Ronald Reagan. They say the topics of tonight's address are influenced by a series of listening sessions the president has been holding in his first weeks in office with business executives. We've seen that, as well as union leaders and blue-collar workers. Now, we have not necessarily seen that. The president is expected to start his speech by noting the big promises he made during the campaign, something he indicated at this private dinner last night, and promises that he has already kept in his first few weeks in office, including pulling out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal and those executive orders he has signed. In an interview today with Fox News, the president said he's done a lot of good things while in his first few weeks in office, but it hasn't been communicated effectively to voters.
Now, in terms of achievement, I think I'd give myself an A, because I think I've done great things, but I don't think I and my people, I don't think we've explained it well enough to the American public. I think I get an A in terms of what I've actually done, but in terms of messaging, I'd give myself a C or a C+.
All right, how are you going to change that then?
Well, maybe I change it during the speech.
And that is something the president alluded to during that dinner last night we had here at the White House. The president also gave himself an A+ for effort, but said results matter more. That, of course, obviously the words of a businessman turned chief executive, commander-in-chief, leader of the free world. Also at that dinner last night, he did indicate that while there will be some optimism, he believes in setting a tone for what's to come on his agenda. It's important to point out some of the problems and then talk about the solutions. As you recall, his inaugural speech, many focused on that phrase, American carnage, and some of the more dark views the president expressed at his inauguration. This speech could be somewhat different. We'll have to wait and see. I'll have much more on our talk with the president during that private dinner last night, as well as a look ahead to tonight's speech and a look at the special guests who will be there with Congress tonight when the Commander-in-Chief addresses them. For now, I'm Todd McDermott, live in Washington, D.C. at the White House.